what time it is, cabinet members. It's 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and this is Unhinged, a live reading the Omarosa story. Bitch, we got the official podcast launching in 2 weeks, September the 4th. It's going to be on YouTube. I have a lot of great announcements coming for you guys. Tomorrow I have a nice reveal on Instagram. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram at GODDM. Shout out to Baltimore Magazine for featuring me today on their blog section. Cabinet, bitch, we are doing it. The girls are here for us. Now, I want to introduce something before we get into our reading. It's a segment that's going to be on the podcast. It's called The Shade Parade. Now, The Shade Parade basically covers all of the bullshit that happens with your favorite local politicians, national politicians, and political pundits who feel like they're above you. Now, today, in The Shade Parade, we must address Miss Paris, honey. Paris denied. Now, no shade, I always thought he was one of the girls. So these sexual allegations threw me, bitch. First off, who the fuck wants Paris denied? No shade. Who wants Paris denied, bitch? I'm just saying. So, like, for me, part of me is taking this with a grain of salt. Like, okay. Another part of me is like, bitch, that's what you get. Okay? Because you tried it. Paris Denard, for those of you who have never watched like CNN, MSNBC, or anything like that, Paris Denard is an African American. He's pro-Trump. He's very pro-Trump. And it's just something, I just don't like his dumb ass. I'm just, fuck it, I'm trying to be all nice and shit. He annoys the fuck out of me. And quite frankly, if the allegations are not true, that he was zipping down his pants, you know, want bitches sit on his lap and shit, then, you know, I don't want nobody getting fucked up in the game on some shit like that. That's not true. On the other hand, if it is true, Paris, bitch. But I still thought you was one of the girls, bitch. Now, some exciting things are happening. I'll be sharing them with you in the near future. But right now, bitch, we gotta wait for the ink to dry. But I will say this, cabinet members, we are making our voices heard. Okay, we are making our voices heard. And that's what this is all about. It's all about us, the everyman. The people who don't sit at home and read, you know, political science journals and shit like that. This is for us. And this is for us and nobody else. So if you don't like it, if you feel some kind of way, then this is not the show for you. But we are moving full steam ahead, bitch. It's giving sex. It's giving productions. It's giving, we are moving along. So, without further ado, tonight's reading, we will be reading from the book of Omarosa, chapter 13, verse 5, the Unraveling. Okay? Now, in this chapter, this is when John Kelly shows up, I believe. And John Kelly, you know, that's the motherfucker that fired Omarosa. We all know that story. That was episode 1, bitch. And so basically, this follows the transition from John Kelly coming in. And Omarosa basically like, bitch, my days are numbered. And, you know, shit just gets real. So, without further ado, the senior staff meetings will now take place in a Roosevelt room, effective immediately. One of General Kelly's first acts of Chief of Staff was to move the daily senior staff meetings from the Chief of Staff's office, where Reince Priebus held them, to the Roosevelt room, which would comfortably hold 30-plus senior staff members. I always sat at the table, while most of the female staff members sat along the wall or on the couches. Kelly ran his senior staff meetings like a military operation. He barked each person's name and would cut them off if they got too long-winded. Bitch, you sound like me. He was particularly short with General H.R. McMaster. he would rudely cut him off in mid-sentence and say, "Let's pick this back up another time." He would often lament about the press and constantly reminded us that he was there to enforce discipline and order. General Kelly wanted total control over the West Wing. In order to achieve that, he had to divide it like a battlefield and set up perimeters. He informed all the senior staff that everyone would have to stop dropping into the Oval. So basically, he like, all of y'all is not essential, bitch. Playtime's over. Stay your ass in your office unless we motherfucking call you. Okay? Now, if you wanted to see the president or bring guests by, you now had to submit a formal scheduling post, bitch. What Lil Wayne say to Manny Fresh, bitch, I gotta make appointments now. I gotta make appointments to see you, bitch. Funny. So, I welcomed the change, as I was getting exhausted with running back and forth between the West Wing and the EEOB. If the president needed anything from now on, he would go to his chief of staff. Kelly also demanded that if by chance the president contacted you outside the outlined protocols, you were to come to his office and debrief him on your exchange with the president, no matter how brief or trivial the topic. Most of the APs rolled their eyes at these requests. In my mind, I realized how little Kelly understood the job he was about to undertake. He also had no idea what he was in for. When the first 5 a.m. call from the president came post-Kelly takeover, I told Donald that he had to curtail his communications with everyone, especially by cell phone. He asked why. I told him that Kelly wanted everything to go through official channels, and I didn't disagree. The president went back to his NYC days and said, "Fuck Kelly. I do whatever I want to do." So Donald like, "Fuck this, bitch. I'm going to do what I want to do. If you don't like it, bitch, don't be telling nobody when to come see me in my office, bitch." He like, "You tried it." I did not debrief Kelly on this conversation with the president. I was used to talking often with Keith Schiller, whom I known just as long as Donald. Keith confided that he was fed up with the way that they were treating him. Apparently, Kelly was also trying to install boundaries between the president and his longtime body man. What the fuck is a body man, bitch? Okay, bodyguard, maybe that's a misprint. I begged Keith not to leave. If you go, Donald will really lose it. The bright side of Kelly becoming chief of staff, I could lobby him directly for the extension of temporary protected status that stopped the deportation of immigrants from Haiti and other South American countries, which was set to expire. So now she's the saint to immigrants, bitch. I tell you, this is conveniently crafted. You know, I'm here for you, bitch. I'm here for you. And I'm glad you watched the fucking show last time. But, bitch, you Mother Teresa, ain't you? Anyway. We made a commitment to work closely with the Haitian community, in particular during my visit there. This was the top priority for President Jovenel Moise, who requested an extension of the TPS. Okay, remember that. The TPS is the temporary protected status. So that's basically an extension for immigrants to stay in the country and, you know, shit like that. The new chief of staff made some dramatic and immediate changes, such as closing the door to the Oval Office so that President Trump could not see who was passing outside. The only way into the Oval was by passing his assistants, Madeline Westerhout, Keith Schiller, and John McEntee. This change, he reasoned, was to block pop-ins via the back entrance to Donald's dining room and to rescind what were known as walk-in privileges to trusted advisors. Due to my Secret Service issue KISS pin, so-called because it allowed you to get in close proximity of the principals, I could still move freely throughout the whole complex. So basically, a KISS pin is basically a pin where you are allowed to basically be in close proximity of the president and high-level officials without, you know, bitches going off. Leaked reports to the press described me as Kelly's first subject of people to keep away from the president, which they did. Now, this is where we pause. I remember, if you watch the news or the press, where they were saying that John Kelly really didn't care for Omarosa and he was trying to keep her away because allegedly Omarosa was the one that was like starting all this shit and blah, blah, blah and all of that. Now, ever since I've been blamed for the Mika facelift tweet, the prevailing opinion inside the White House was that my dirty dossier deliveries were the reason Donald would fly into rages and lose an entire day of productivity while in a SNP. Now, we all know that's not true because Donald acting crazy now and Omarosa been fired for months, bitch. I requested meetings with General Kelly to discuss this and other OPL concerns. But he would not give me an opportunity to meet with him. If I were to put on his schedule, he canceled. From his arrival in late July until my departure in mid-December, Kelly and I spoke to each other exactly twice. The first time was in his office during a meeting where he informed me that Secretary DeVos wanted to cancel the fall HBCU conference, and second, when he locked me in the Situation Room and threatened me with a court-martial. So basically, they only talked 2 times, bitch. The 2 times that they talked was with Dixie DeVos and when her ass got fired. The idea of limiting Trump's exposure to people might have seemed wise at first, but what it actually did was cut him off from trusted friends who kept him grounded and somewhat sane. Kelly's move to isolate Trump drove him crazy. He watched even more cable news and relied on phone calls and social media, even more than before. To satisfy his deep need for positive feedback, in-person affirmation of his greatness, and an ear to vent to. Every piece of paper that went to the president had to go through handlers first and then to Kelly to review. So this is how you know that we got the government and then it's the bad government. Because, bitch, how you the chief of staff and you basically testing his notes, streamlining what calls he get? Like, understand, the president really don't run the country. We just got an idiot in office that's fucking crazy. Okay? Now, nor could he stop certain people who done every piece of paper that went to the president had to go through handlers. He couldn't prevent Donald from calling people from his private line in the residence or from using his personal cell phone. Nor could he stop certain people who Donald cleared to call directly through the White House switchboard. Donald sometimes called us from a non-traditional phone he borrowed from a military aide or a visitor, which was not always secure as a reaction to Kelly's crackdown. So basically, Donald Trump moving like a dope dealer, bitch. He calling from minute phones, burnout phones, pay phones, trying to talk to people because Kelly done cut his ass off. Now, Kelly also sent word that AP's assistants to the president, we learned that earlier, in particular were required to brief him on any conversation that Donald and we had, per the Presidential Records Act. Now, the Presidential Records Act, that's basically like when the president has meetings or like high-level conversations or things like that that are pertinent to the national security of the country. They have a Presidential Records Act, which Donald Trump, in my opinion, has violated several times, bitch, by having these off-the-cuff meetings with these national, international dignitaries. But that's a whole nother segment. Failing to do so will put us in legal jeopardy. A threat meant to intimidate or dissuade us from talking to the president. Most of our conversations at the time were of my listening to Donald rambling incoherently, speaking in random fragments, varying from the thought to thought and topic to topic. The election, fake news, Clinton emails, trade, Obama tapping his phones, and all the people who slighted him. Remember he thought Obama tapped his phones, bitch. I thought that was funny. Here is a snippet of one of those conversations, to the best of my recollection. Now, bitch, when she say to the best of my recollection, that means this bitch got a tape, and that's probably the season finale out this motherfucker. Anyway, hey, I'm going to meet about, you know what? This guy's a good guy. China, the people. Look, China is getting us. These guys are no good. But the wall. It would have been ridiculous to write a memo about each one of these conversations on substance. At the time, it was uneasy. I was uneasy about documenting evidence of his mental impairment or decline for all of posterity. So Kelly limited office visits. Every document passed through him. Every phone call had to be brief. Nothing went in or out that he didn't approve first. Who was the president now? Kelly seemed to be setting himself up to be a Dick Cheney figure, pulling the strings, controlling the president, and calling shots. Now, Dick Cheney, of course, former George Bush's vice president. A lot of people believe that he was really the one that was running the country because, you know, George Bush can be a little flighty sometimes. But anyway, I didn't swear an oath to serve at the pleasure of John Kelly. As miserable as things were at the White House and outside it, I reminded myself of my commitment and did my job to the best of my ability. On August 11th, I flew to New Orleans to speak on a panel at the National Association of Black Journalists. Bitch, you just went from the fire praying into the fire, bitch. But anyway, the panel, moderated by Ed Gordon of Bounce TV. Bitch, I don't want to laugh, but like, you're going to a panel, no shade to Bounce TV, bitch. But you're going to a panel moderated by Bounce TV. I mean, really, that's like the class, that's like the basic, like, cable subscription, bitch. I don't even think you get BET. Anyway. Was called Black and Blue, Raising Our Sons, Protecting Our Communities. I was asked to speak for the first time publicly about the murder of my father and brother and how violence had impacted my life. I learned in coverage, now for background information, because we didn't go into that chapter, Omarosa's father got beat to death, pretty much, which is unfortunate, but that's what happened. I learned in coverage of the event that some panelists dropped out when they heard I was coming. Some members of the black press were not covering me objectively. About 3 months before the panel, I've been invited to a luncheon for the National Action Network's annual convention in New York. After I spoke briefly about what I've been doing to support black colleges, Al Sharpton got up and said, "You are in a very precarious position because you represent an administration that many of us disagree with. But I would not be loyal to what I am if I did not address those issues and ask you to go back and tell them, yes, they were respectful. No, they would not allow me to be silenced, but they told me to tell you that we as blacks and women are, in the first 100 days, seeing a disaster in Washington, D.C. He scolded me like a child in front of a room full of my peers at a women's luncheon. I was carried live on CNN and C-SPAN. I was disappointed with another missed opportunity to connect with the civil rights community. Now, let's pause here. Now, I get what Al Sharpton was saying. I get it. Like, I totally get it. But at the same time, like, y'all don't want to go to meetings. Y'all don't want to meet with the president. And I understand why you don't want to meet. I understand that you feel like it's a waste of time. Okay? But here's the thing. And this is what, as black people, and I'm not preaching here, but as black people, you see, you remember when we read that chapter about how Donald Trump went to the black church even though he felt like the shit was a waste of time and it wasn't really his thing? He still went though. Even though he felt like it was some bullshit, he still went. So if you don't show up, you're not in the building, why would they care? This is why he only caters to his base. Because quite frankly, his base got him in office. So when you don't show up, you don't make yourself known. And this is my personal opinion. Everybody's not going to agree with this. But if you don't show up, then bitch, you going to get put out. And that's the bottom fucking line. Anyway. And here I was at the NABJ, right back in the lion's mouth. Within 5 minutes on the panel, Ed Gordon pushed me to defend Trump about some of the inflammatory things he said. Namely, that cops on Long Island should get rough with suspects who were predominantly people of color. I didn't agree with that. Not in the slightest. I stuck to my purpose, to say that I understood as well as anyone the pain of losing a family member to violence, and that I sympathize with the families of people who've been beaten or killed by the police. Black Lives Matter activists in the packed ballroom stood up in their seats and turned their backs. Others shouted at me and raised their fists. Some jeered and laughed as if I were a joke. This protest was different from the kind I was used to. At least Al Sharpton had asked me to deliver a message. Some people at the NABJ just wanted to kill the messenger. When you have someone in the room, I said, you don't beat the hell out of them. You inform them of what's going on in the community so that they can be an advocate. You don't walk away from the table, because if you're not at the table, what? You're on the menu, bitch. Gordon kept hammering at me to defend Trump. Now, this is what's annoying to me. And I wasn't in the room. But you're badgering the black woman to defend, like, instead of you badgering the administration, badgering the people, the Fox News, the press, you're badgering the one black face in the administration. Like, you know what's going to happen? They all sitting laughing at both of y'all. They're laughing at Omarosa, and they laughing at y'all. Because you missed the fucking point. But anyway. In the video posted on YouTube, you can see how he looms over me. We gonna find this video, bitch. Intended to be aggressive. The panel was about violence. And ironically, I felt physically threatened sitting in the white leather chair on the stage. He came from behind the podium and stood over me. I tried to bring the conversation to ways to protect families, but he kept pushing me to justify Jeff Sessions' stance on immigration, for example. There was no hope of having a productive discussion. So I rose with my microphone and stood up to this bully and told him, don't be aggressive. Ask your question, but don't lecture me. You can ask about the loss of my father and my brother. Ask about my story. I'm not going to stand here and defend every single word or decision of the Trump administration. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. But don't disrespect the story of my father and my brother. See, that's how I would have said it, bitch. I just read that like how I was going to say it, bitch. You say it, because, bitch, that's how I'd have delivered it to his ass. Like, bitch, I ain't no killer, but don't push me. Bottom line, flat out, bitch. The president of the NABJ got up to take control of the situation and ended the program. I headed for the exit. Now, Keith Olbermann tweeted, poor Omarosa, offended when asked about Trump. Same day as UVA Nazi rally. She had never realized that her only relevance is as Trump's pet. Meanwhile, in Charlottesville, Virginia, ooh, bitch, the Charlottesville riot, bitch. I didn't preview this chapter, guys, so this is all like, oh, shit, okay. Meanwhile, in Charlottesville, Virginia, the Unite the Right rally had become. Now, the Unite the Right rally, we just finished the year anniversary. I hate to use that word for something like that. Of the Charlottesville riot that happened back in August. That was, like, insane. You know what I'm saying? Go see Black Klansman, too, if you haven't already. That's one of Spike's better films. He did an excellent job. But anyway. The stated purpose was to protest the removal of the statue of Robert E. Lee, the Confederate hero from Emancipation Park, the name of which the city council had changed from Lee Park 2 months before. But that was really just an excuse to stage a full-on sheet-wearing, gun-toting, swastika-waving jamboree of white supremacists, neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, Southern militia members, and the type of people who had a Confederate flag painted on the roof of their pickup truck. No shade, bitch. She ain't never lied. I was still in New Orleans at a small meet and greet with leadership hosted by the NABJ's president. On television, we saw the images of young white men looking furious and hateful, carrying tiki torches and chanting, "You will not replace us." You being any non-white, non-Christian person. The chant morphed to, "Jews will not replace us," which was captured in a Vice documentary that went viral. If you haven't seen that documentary, watch that documentary. It's like, it's chilling, okay? I immediately sent a note back to the White House asking if they were monitoring the situation. I was told that they were keeping an eye on it. The media blamed Donald Trump and Steve Bannon for the rally, citing racist rhetoric dating back to the very first day of his campaign, that his policies and speeches gave permission to racists to crawl out from under their rocks and into the light of day, which is the motherfucking truth. No shade, bitch. Back in the early campaign days, I went on TV and defended Donald's rhetoric, saying he's not racist, he's racial. Now, this line right here, I have a problem with it, because as a black woman, even if you know that he's racial, honey, like, I understand, like, I wouldn't even said no shit like that in the press. Like, I wouldn't even say no shit like he's not racist, he's racial, bitch. That don't go over well, bitch. This is why you are not invited to the cookout now, Omarosa. I'm doing everything I can reading this book, honey, to help you at least get a to-go plate. And then we come across shit like this, and it's like, what? I pointed out our history together the last 14 years and how well he treated me, what he'd done for me professionally, how he'd invested in my TV show and my career. Given our relationship, I couldn't believe he was a racist. Now, we got to pause there too, bitch, because you being racist and you understanding what's going to make you some money is two different things, bitch. So he may be racist, but if he know your black ass is going to make him $1, he going to make it. The rally was attended and promoted by David Duke, white supremacist Richard Spencer, and the extremist neo-Nazi website Daily Stormer. I could find no evidence that Breitbart promoted the rally, but Bannon's news site had long been known as the foundation of the alt-right, which is how many of the Unite the Right protesters identified themselves. The next day, I sent a message to Tom Bossett and asked, "Do you have an eye on this situation? Are you watching this?" It was a national security issue as far as I could see. Bossett and Jarrett were in Bedminster, New Jersey with Donald. When the counter-protesters, anti-fascists known as Antifa, Black Lives Matter, church groups, socialists, and others showed up, the situation escalated to violence and some 30 people were injured. So basically, it was like the Bloods versus the Crips, bitch. You got the Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan, then Antifa, Black Lives Matters, the church groups and shit. They was like, nah, bitch, it ain't going down like that. Eva, you ain't gonna get my man like that, bitch. They started fighting and shit. Shit got out of hand. We all know what happened. At about 1:45 p.m., 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr., a neo-Nazi from Ohio, drove into a crowd of protesters, injuring 19 and killing Heather D. Heyer, a 32-year-old paralegal. Remember that? When he rode that car into that damn crowd and killed that girl? That shit was so fucked up. A woman was killed on the streets in broad daylight in an American city by a neo-Nazi, and the police and riot gear had not intervened or put a stop to this. This is why we be looking at the police sideways. For the white folks that is watching, for the white folks all around the world, because we at this point got an international audience. This is why black people and people of color have a problem with the police, okay? Because you can shoot an unarmed black person or choke out an unarmed black person for selling fucking cigarettes and CDs. But you have a mob and a man driving a car through a crowd, and you can't handle the situation. This is why we have the issues that we have now. It's because of shit like this. Anyway, it was unthinkable. I called Bossett again. The protests had been raging for 2 days already without a comment from the president. So remember, When this rally's going on, Donald was quiet as shit. This is why I don't think he that motherfucking crazy. Because it's when it's some shit that serve his purpose or that's too hot, you don't hear from him. Just like you ain't been hearing from him like that about Omarosa in this book, bitch, once she started dropping them goddamn tapes. Sir, you have got to wake up. This has escalated and we have to deal with it. While the entire nation was glued to their TVs, outraged and terrified by what they were seeing, desperate for the strong hand of leadership, the president was napping. So this bitch was asleep. They discussed whether to call Governor Terry McAuliffe and other federal assistants, but the decision was made to leave the tactical response to the local and state level and not make it a federal issue. Now, this is interesting, and here's why this is interesting. Because if you look at the history of civil rights in this country, the federal government has a history of letting local jurisdictions handle things. Whenever there's a racial-related issue, like the government, on a federal level, they intervene if they do it all at the very last minute. They discussed whether to call the governor. So they decided to leave it to the local government to fix. McAuliffe did declare a state of emergency and the Virginia State Police arrived, but the National Guard was not sent in. The White House decision on Charlottesville was to stand down and let Virginia handle it. McAuliffe praised his forces, but according to 2 independent evaluations, many grave errors were made by the local police. They did not intervene when protesters and counter-protesters fought on the street and took no action to prevent the fighting. They were aware of the hostile nature of the torchlit rally, but did nothing to stop it. They had no central command, which caused confusion. So basically, bitch, they wasn't together. As it unfolded in front of my very eyes on TV, I feared that our failed handling of the events in Charlottesville will go down as one of the bleakest stains on the Trump presidency in terms of race relations. It defines his inability and inadequacy in dealing with the complexities of race in this country. His first horrible mistake was to stay silent for 24 hours. When things go south, Trump world goes dark. We learned that. That is their MO. Every surrogate was pulled off air. The only person to go on the Sunday news on August 13th was Tom Bossert. As a result, people tried to label him as an apologist for Donald, but he does not deserve that. He was the only one who had the guts to go on air and express compassion for the people who were hurting and to discuss what was going on. On Monday, August 14th, Donald issued a statement that condemned violence and said racism is evil and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. He mentioned Heather Heyer and the 2 Virginia State troopers who were killed in a related helicopter crash. I didn't know that. I was so distracted by the Heather Heyer shit. I didn't know they got killed in a helicopter. For many, the statement was too little too late and it didn't sound sincere. Bitch, because it wasn't. We know that was bullshit. I don't be understanding how she be thinking that, like, bitch, the people don't live. It's a chop, niece. Sorry. Anyway, on Tuesday, August 15th, Trump was scheduled to hold a press conference in Trump Tower to announce the rollback of regulations that would be part of his infrastructure bill. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. The public fear was real and legitimate. People around the world felt deep terror at the sight of neo-Nazis beating up innocents in front of a church, Klansmen carrying torches, militia brandishing machine guns on the street in open carry, Virginia. These images conjured the worst moments in our collective consciousness about racial atrocities, our nation's shameful past dragged into the present, A dear friend of mine called me to say, "Oh, I'm scared for my kids and my community. I understand why she'd be afraid of white supremacists, but she said, no, I'm scared of your boss, Trump." Bitch, this is like the 8th person that was like, "Girl, you in danger. Get out. Why is you still here? Leave, silly." And she's still there. Now, I wanted to tell her not to worry, that I was there, the guardrails were in place, but for 2 days, a race war had raged in the open in an American city. Until Charlottesville, I couldn't allow myself to process how bad things had become, because that would mean confronting things I'd noticed and ignored about Trump all along. My blind spot was shattered during that press conference, though. I could see with my own eyes that Trump had no idea what people were so upset about. He just did not grasp it. He was disconnected from reality. He came down from the elevator into the lobby of Trump Tower. The doors opened, and there was a wall of press in front of him. The elevator banks were behind him. He had nowhere to go and no choice but to give his prepared talk on building regulations. He was under fire, with no means of escape, and he was irritated that this whole matter wasn't over and done with already. After reciting his regulation speech, which was a long brag about how great his buildings were, he took questions from the press. He was asked why it had taken him so long to condemn the neo-Nazis. He said it was important to take it nice and easy, and that he was waiting until he had all the information. Now you wait until you have all the information. See, this bitch is bonkers. That was BS. I knew he had all the info from Tom Bossert. He had gone dark for 24 hours because that is what he and Trump world do when faced with complicated with issues or crisis. Bitch, I'm going to do that at work now. Whenever I'm about to get rolled up or some shit like that, I'm going to just disappear and go hide in the bathroom for like 2 hours and then come back out and hope all the shit is over with, bitch. It's called going dark. We going to do that. His nonverbals told the story. Trump was waving his hands aggressively, pointing his fingers with hostility. He moved like he was being attacked. A young woman was dead, and he was only thinking about his own discomfort. He said, "How about a couple of infrastructure questions?" He had no concept of the magnitude of Charlottesville and wanted to move on to business as usual. This man did not have 1 ounce of empathy. Any normal person would know that he should have been talking about what was going on from the moment the rally began. He should have instructed the National Guard to go in to establish order and better assist the local government to respond and stop the violence, not stand by and allow it to unfold. He should have calmed the fears of all the Americans who watch images that conjure up one of the darkest periods in our history, replayed by the 24-hour news cycle. He should have called for a day of mourning, a day of prayer, a national symposium on race. He should have blah, blah, blah. Bitch, you know he wasn't going to do that. Like, why do you keep thinking that he going to have some sense? God damn. Like, really? She giving bad at wife tease, which is exhausting. It's giving like, you know, don't hit me, Ike. No shade to Tina Turner. But keep going back, bitch. I'm waiting for you to fuck him up in a limousine at this point, and it's just not happening. When pressed, Trump mentioned Heather Heyer and said, her mother on Twitter thanked me for what I did. The woman's life had been destroyed, and he was bragging about a tweet. It was all about him. He had no capacity whatsoever to understand what Heather's mother was feeling. Trump's greatest character flaw is his total lack of empathy, which in itself is a function of his extreme narcissism. Trump constructs his own reality to make himself look good, even in horrible situations, and then he repeats it over and over again until his distortion becomes the only version he knows. His lies and boasts are always about making him look better. I can believe that. And it's a tactic that a lot of business people use, a lot of marketing people use, a lot of fucking, like, PR people use. What they'll do is they'll keep saying the same shit over and over and over again until it starts to stick, until it starts to become something that you start to believe. That's brainwashing, bitch. Oh my God. While I watched, I kept thinking that the infrastructure pressure should have been canceled. Press conference should have been canceled. Or they should have rapped, or he should have been ushered away. His gestures were getting jerkier, and I could see his anger building. He was not well. He was acting impaired. When he was asked if he had missed an opportunity to bring the country together, I yelled yes at the TV. But his response was to brag about the economy. I've created over 1 million jobs since I'm president. The country is booming. The stock market is setting records. We have the highest employment numbers we've ever had in the history of our country. Bitch, first off, bitch, being a temp, like, you can be a temp, bitch. We know how to. I don't work for a temp agency, bitch. Okay? You can be employed this week and fired next week, bitch. That'll inflate the numbers, bitch. That don't mean motherfuckers really got jobs out this motherfucker. Okay? Like, cut the crap. When asked about senior advisor Steve Bannon, Trump said, I like Mr. Bannon. He's a friend of mine. But Mr. Bannon came on very late. You know that? I went through 17 senators, governors, and I won all the primaries. Basically saying, bitch, he's a Johnny come lately. Mr. Bannon came on very much later than that. And I like him. He's a good man. He is not a racist. I can tell you that. He's a good person. He actually gets very familiar, unfair press in that regard. He sounds like a preacher. He's a good man. He's not a racist. He's very familiar. He's unfair. He came on late. Like, bitch, it's giving church sermon. He stood there and defended Bannon, which was perceived as his apologizing for a racist. Also, he could not help but bring up the election again. During the incredible unraveling, Trump also trashed John McCain for voting against his health care bill, called reporters fake news, pointed out that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were slave owners, questioned the validity of removing racist symbols like Confederate statues, defended white supremacists and neo-Nazis for having the proper permits. They really didn't, actually. So, bitch, they ain't even had a permits for that. Made a dig at Obama for not fixing race during his 8 years as president. Okay, so bitch, you want the black man in 8 years to fix 400 years of issues in a country because he black. Trump's mental decline was on full display during this press conference. I was certain everyone would see it and that it would be the headline of every paper the next day. The most incendiary remarks were, I think there's blame on both sides. If you look at both sides, I think there's blame on both sides. And I have no doubt about it. And you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say the same. You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had bad people that were very fine people on both sides. Cabinet. When he said those words, I could not believe that he was equivocating, not fully understanding the precarious ticking time bomb he was lobbing. I recognized by his posture and his tone that if he'd been in private, he would have gone full Donald Trump. He kept talking and kept digging himself into a deeper hole. Nobody protected Trump for Trump that day. When he challenged the press for not reporting accurately, he was saying, I'm right, you're wrong, you're all lying to make me look bad. It was a terrible example of how flawed Donald's thinking was. He was unable to see the hurt, pain, and fear his words were inflicting on the nation with his total lack of empathy. Matt Lauer and Today reached out to me to come on and talk about Charlottesville. I declined the offer. I refused to defend the indefensible. Who fell on that sword this time? Bannon. So this is when Bannon left the White House, bitch. Now, remember Steve Bannon? But Steve Bannon left the White House, but he ain't really leave the White House. He's still out back there operating like Senator Palpatine in the goddamn shadows. I know he is. On August 18th, Bannon left the White House. His presence was evidence enough of Trump's racism for many people. But the only reason Bannon was there in the first place had nothing to do with ideology. Many in Trump world suspected that it was all about money. If mega donor Rebecca Mercer insisted that Trump bring in Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, and David Bossie, Trump did it. But because Bannon's alt-right connections could have dragged down the presidency, he had to go. It worked out well for Steve. He'd felt thwarted in government, and for a while, he'd been trying to leave and return to Breitbart, where he was boss and could do and say whatever he wanted. His exit from the White House was mutual, according to all reports. Trump tweeted, "I want to thank Steve Bannon for his service. He came to the campaign during my run against crooked Hillary Clinton. It was great." Now, also, too, I personally believe Steve Bannon's ass left the White House. Because remember, when Steve Bannon was in the office, everybody was saying that Steve Bannon was really the one pulling the strings and really the one that was in Trump's ear. And, you know, Trump's an egomaniac, so he ain't like that shit. So he called it a day. A few months later, after Michael Wolff's Fire and Fury, bitch, we might have to read Fire and Fury, came out, and Bannon was revealed to be the author's #1 source, Trump changed his amicable tune. So basically, Bannon did an Omarosa before Omarosa did an Omarosa. So this Fire and Fury book was basically all these accounts, okay, that Steve Bannon was basically throwing hella shade at Donald, saying he was ill-equipped and all this crazy ass shit. And you know Donald wasn't having that, so he was like, I'm gonna have to snatch this bitch. So anyway, he made a statement on January 3rd and said, when he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. 2 days later, he tweeted, Michael Wolff is a total loser who made up stories in order to sell his really boring and untruthful book. Bitch, I'm going to find out if this book is boring because I think I'm going to read it. He used Sloppy Steve Bannon. Ooh, Sloppy Steve, bitch. That's kind of got a ring to it. Who cried when he got fired and begged for his job. Now Sloppy Steve has been dumped like a dog by almost everyone. Too bad. He loved that word dog, bitch, don't he? If you leave or betray the Trump cult, you are labeled crazy and pathetic. Trump did not care that he completely contradicted himself after he tweeted nice things about his departed senior advisor. He changed his tone only after Bannon appeared to go against the grain. It is a pattern that the White House repeats often. Lying is second in nature to this administration. Now, we getting ready to get into some interesting tea, bitch. Things started to settle down a little, and we went a whole week scandal-free, bitch. That's a shame, bitch, when a week with no scandal is like a fucking thing. Until the day of the solar eclipse. I remember the solar eclipse. Remember the solar eclipse, guys? Louise Linton, the 37-year-old Scottish actress, wife of Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, posted a photo on Instagram of herself and her husband walking down the steps of a private government plane with the caption, "Great day trip to Kentucky. Nicest people. Beautiful. Hashtag countryside. Hashtag rolling Moret pants. Hashtag Tom Ford. Hashtag Hermes scarf. Hashtag Valentino rocks the hills. Hashtag Valentino." Bitch. She was trying to get them endorsements. Everybody want a Vogue cover, bitch. Everybody trying to get a Vogue cover. And see, sometimes they don't pay to be trying to get the Vogue cover, bitch. Don't call Anna. She will call you, bitch. All them hashtags. And I feel like that. You gotta keep hashtagging the brand that you wearing, bitch. Do that mean they don't like your ass? It's giving very much up. Thank you for your purchase, bitch. Next customer. You hashtagging on government property, bitch. Fuck out of here. Jenny Miller, a mother of 3 in Portland, Oregon, commented, "Glad we can pay for your little getaway. Hashtag deplorable, bitch." And then Louise fired back. "I'm pretty sure we paid more taxes toward our day trip than you did. Pretty sure the amount we sacrifice per year is a lot more than you'd be willing to sacrifice if the choice was yours. You're adorably out of touch." Well, the entire internet exploded. Now, remember that when she put all that shit online and the internet came for her ass Bitch was scared. They dragged her ass. The entire internet exploded, saying that Louise Linton was the one who was out of touch. The political ramifications were that her husband was working on redoing the tax code to benefit the rich. That Trump's entire cabinet was packed with millionaires and billionaires who couldn't relate to and didn't care about the common forgotten men and women who'd elected them into office. So basically, Louise Linton is X-list, no, yeah, XYZ, Z-list bitch actress. This is what happens. Some of these girls in Hollywood, when they can't quite cut it, they can't quite get a role, you know, if they pretty enough, you know, mostly it's a lot of white girls, you know, no shade. You know, when they can't, you know, get in a Marvel film, when they call Gwyneth first, they end up marrying these rich billionaires because they like trophies. She's a fucking trophy wife. The bitch couldn't act her way out of a paper bag, so she married Steve Mnuchin, and now she's trying to, you know, levy that into something, like, reputable. Nevertheless. Through a mutual connection in Los Angeles, Kelly Day, Louise got in touch with me and asked me to have lunch at her home in D.C. soon after she issued an apology to that mom in Portland. I found her to be very glamorous, very Hollywood, a far cry from the typical Washington wife. She told me that she'd been following the advice of her publicist to tag the designer she was working with. I explained that as a representative of the U.S. government, she was with her cabinet member husband in front of a government plane, and she's not supposed to take gifts or use a public platform for private gain. Bitch, how you didn't know? Like, why did Omarosa have to tell you that, bitch? She explained it to me in a straightforward style as a small misunderstanding and said she'd been more conscientious of things like that going forward. I just don't understand how Washington works, she said. Linton was tone deaf but not malicious. I sympathized with her. She was being attacked by the press, and so was I, day after day. As silly as her posting was, she was suffering, and that was what I clued into during our lunch. Few people can fully understand how it feels when the whole world seems to be against you. On August 25th, Trump pardoned Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who'd been convicted of criminal contempt following a lawsuit against his department's racially profiling Latinos at traffic stops without cause and detaining them in concentration camp-like tent cities where Latinos were publicly humiliated, forced to labor in chain gangs, and denied basic medical care and supplies. So I don't know if you remember this, but this is when he did that pardon. And it was crazy, guys. Like, the guy was just like, this guy's a known fuck-up, known racist, known bigot, and Trump gives him a fucking pardon. For me, it was another brick in Trump's racist wall, but I was finally able to see over it. The distinction I made between racial and racist with regard to Trump was a deception I had used to convince myself. No shit, bitch. It would be a while yet before I could see the clear picture on the other side of the wall, but I was getting there. During the campaign, I had justified his rhetoric as just political, what he resorted to in order to connect with and stir up the base. But seeing his policies and pardons, I couldn't justify his actions anymore. It hurt to see the truth about him. Imagine if you had a mentor, a friend. This is where we're getting ready to humanize Omarosa. Typically, you know, I skip these parts, but fuck it. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole. Someone you looked up to for nearly 15 years. Someone you sacrificed a lot to stand by under fire, who suddenly revealed himself to be your worst nightmare. I didn't want to believe it. I rejected what other people said about him because they didn't know him like I did. I had to go through the pain of witnessing his racism with my own eyes and hearing it with my own ears many times until I couldn't deny it any longer. You know what I feel like? I feel like Omarosa was genuinely hurt. And I'm not saying that because she watched the broadcast, but reading this, I feel like she really thought that it would never happen to her. I think she really believed that this was all a business transaction until she realized that it wasn't. This kind of dawning does not take place in an instant. I fought it desperately until it was impossible to do so. Part of the reason it took so long for me to come to this realization was that I don't throw around the term racist lightly. There's a difference between being a racist, racial, and someone who racializes. Bitch. Racial, racist, racializing. Racist, racial, racializing. Racist, racial, racializing. Racist, racial. Bitch, that's the song. I gotta put that in the bar. During the seminary, I came to read a book called Divided by Faith, which explains that. But if you recognize that we live in a racialized society and label someone racial, you can work with that. I wanted to work with Donald to understand his broken outlook. And I believed I was teaching him about the danger of starting a cultural war, a race war, of stirring up these dark elements in our society. But when the bricks in his racist wall kept getting higher, I had to wonder if, despite everything I previously believed, he did not want to start a race war. The only other explanation was that his mental state was so deteriorated that the filter between the worst impulses of his mind and his mouth was completely gone. I wanted to leave the White House, Trump world, and Washington, D.C. But bitch, this is August. You got fired in December, so you ain't want to leave that damn bad. Political culminator, conservative media, and marketing empire builder, and my friend for nearly 20 years. So, basically after that, she called Armstrong Williams, who's our friend. He's a political advisor. I said to him, that's it. Charlottesville was the last straw for me. I'm leaving. Armstrong said, it's almost September. Your HBCU conference is in 3 weeks. Are you going to turn your back on those students? She think of everything. I was just saying this bitch was ready to leave in August and her ass got fired in December. And here, lo and behold, here we go. The National HBCU Week Conference from September 17th to September 19th was what I've been working towards since day one. It was going to be the culmination of all my efforts, starting with pushing for the EO in the first 40 days of Trump's presidency to executive order. EO is executive order. To move the HBCU office from the Department of Education back to the White House, where I could oversee it and sponsor events like the upcoming conference. In addition to the meetings and panels of HBCU students and administrators, 100 HBCU All-Stars were visiting D.C., some for the first time. Armstrong said, are you really going to let down all those students? Don't let hate win. If you leave now, all those kids won't get what they need. He talked me off the ledge, but I was still ready to jump. I had to discuss it with Donald himself. When we discussed Charlottesville, Trump was defensive and said, Omarosa, you know what was in that report, referring to all the information about the Antifa groups who were involved in the counter-protests. There were some strident groups, but there was no moral equivalency between fascists and anti-fascists. He doesn't understand that. Politically and morally, they could not be put on an equal plane. Due to his lack of empathy and his narcissism, he did not possess the capacity to draw distinctions between angry groups of people and failed to understand what had happened in our country during that crisis. I didn't forgive him, defend him, or apologize for him. I put my head down and got to work to finalize what I needed to do for my 3-day conference and hosting duties for hundreds of conference attendees. On the last day of that long, horrible month, Secretary of Treasury Steve Mnuchin refused to commit to the Obama-era initiative to put abolitionist Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, replacing Andrew Jackson. His excuse was flimsy. Bitch. It's not something I'm focused on at the moment, he told CNBC. I know Trump wanted to dismantle Obama's legacy, but this too? I quickly wrote a decision memo about the matter and gave it to Trump. While flipping through the folder, he came to the picture of Tubman, the woman who personally brought more than 300 slaves to freedom, risking her own life every time, and said to me, you want to put that face on a $20 bill. And that's where we leave for tonight. Usually, I end these things in a very, yes, bitch kind of way. But tonight, guys, what we just read, we gotta be real with ourselves. In America, it is fine to put old, wrinkled white men on every currency. But we can't put one black woman who is iconic, mythic, and helped save thousands of lives on a piece of paper. Her face is not even worth being put on a piece of paper to him. This is America. This is why I'm reading this book. And it doesn't stop with this fucking book. Okay? Yes, I'm finding my calling to be this voice of, humor and to help us live through this train wreck and chaos that is this president. But the real gem in this is to be informed. We have our midterm elections coming up. This is where you can make a difference. Vote the right senators in. Get these people out of these seats. If you're not registered, register. Don't stay home. Because the other side, they not staying home, bitch. And once again, I salute our black women, in the South and in these special elections who are really making a difference in these votes and really, really getting out there. For it is the black woman who is oftentimes the foundation, the backbone of the movement. And this is a movement. Secretary of Shade, bitch, this is a movement. It's a movement that I didn't start on purpose. I don't want you to think that I was like, I'm going to read a book and we're going to do this. But in doing this and getting a lot of your letters and students coming to me being, more interested in politics, I have found a calling on myself. And I have to thank y'all for that. Because this was a joke to me at first. I read the book. I believed the shit. But when you read things like that last line, it makes you understand how much work we got left to do. So pay attention to these midterm elections. This is not the end. This Secretary of Shade podcast launches September 4th. We will cover more on politics. We are going to get ready. We are going to get ready together to bring this country to the place that it needs to be so that it reflects the people who actually really fucking live here. Okay? So, on that note, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Search Secretary of Shade. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at GODDM. That's at GO, G as in golf, O as in Oscar, D as in Delta, D as in Delta, M as in Mike, bitch. Follow me on Instagram to stay updated. I've got some great announcements coming. The Secretary of Shade podcast is a production, bitch. For those of you who follow my music, y'all know I love a production. And we're definitely taking this thing to the next level. Daily Show, I'm coming for your ass. Y'all have a great night. Be blessed. And the next reading will be on Monday. Monday, we're doing a reading. We're going to read the next to the last chapter. We're going to do another reading after that on Thursday. And then September 4th, bitch, we launched the official podcast, Secretary of Shade. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Have a great night.